Hello, my name's Carl, and in this video we're going to be making this a plywood MDF and OSB workbench, or in this case a tool stand for my bandsaw. Now, since I've moved in, I've been working off a pasting table, and as good as that is, it's not great. I need something a little bit more permanent, and on top of that I've got some benchtop tools like a drill press, a bandsaw, a router table, that all need to find a home in here, and the intention really is to make enough room that I can squeeze a small table saw into the workshop. So that's the challenge. All of the components have been cut to their correct widths, but now need marking out and cutting to their final lengths. The legs are made from 12mm plywood, which has been ripped into 188mm strips, and this is so that when they're joined to form an L shape, each leg is 100mm square. The two front legs will be 900mm long, but the rear legs only need to be 800mm to take into account the height of the casters. The two components forming the legs are joined with a simple glued butt joint. Later we'll reinforce the joint with screws. Clamped to either end, the slight bow in this component is corrected as further clamps are applied. The excess glue is then wiped away. Once completely dry, the clamps are removed. And then the joints can be reinforced with screws after first pilot holes are drilled to eliminate splitting. At the time of filming, the floor was the only flat surface big enough to allow me to assemble each end of the bench. The plywood offcuts from the legs form the cross pieces and are glued and screwed into place. A framing square ensures everything is square and at right angles. The MDF top is used to check the measurements and ensure the legs and tops will be flush. Screws now can be used to secure the cross pieces. Okay, so I've made the frames and here they are. So those L shapes that you saw me gluing together have been tied together cross pieces, allowing enough room at the top. At the bottom we have a support for the shelf and room below for a piece that will go across the back that will support the casters. Building it upside down on the bench, we'll just use the top for alignment purposes initially, and effectively it will all slot together along those sort of lines, and with these pieces which I've had cut to length, dropping in and forming the sides. The 6mm OSB rails are pre-drilled to prevent splitting. More glue is liberally applied to the rails. Before being screwed into place with short countersunk self-tapping screws. The rails that will support the shelf are glued and screwed in the same way, aligned to marks I made earlier on each leg. Next, a horizontal piece of OSB is glued and screwed in place. This will support the casters. Each caster attaches with 4 self-tapping screws. One piece of alignment you must get right is to have both reels running parallel to each other. Okay, so there we have a little tool stand. The shelf is oversized and simply needs to be trimmed to length before being glued and screwed into place. 2 reinforcement pieces are fixed to the front legs. The top is installed and screwed into place. No glue was used here, as the top may well have to be replaced someday. Now, when I modelled the bench in SketchUp, the design needed a little adjustment to allow the space underneath to be accessible from the front. Having reinforced the front legs, it's now possible to cut away the bulk of the front face, and in my opinion the narrower leg when viewed from the front looks aesthetically better. And this is a refinement of a basic design from the likes of Chris Salomone and Mark Spagnolo, and essential on a small wheel bench like this one. Just a little clean-up needed with a chisel. And now sanding. Notice the sticker? Originally this was going to be covered by a drill stand, so I didn't bother scraping it off. And now I'm applying a basic finish, and there's the sticker again. The finish I'm using is mineral oil. Brings out the grain, and I tend to finish most shop products in mineral oil for furniture, or boiled linseed oil for everything else and things I'm going to touch. And if I'm going to touch it, I'll of course apply a couple of coats of wax too, but not in this case. This is a basic stand. And there we go, the finished tool stand or small bench. Simple and stable, a prototype I made out of what I had to hand, and where the mix of materials somehow works to make this more than the sum of its parts. Okay, so as a first project for my little workshop, I think this has turned out pretty good. Not bad for some 1/2 inch plywood and scrap MDF and OSB that I just happen to have lying around. I think the design's pretty good. I'm not sure that with 1/2 inch ply this is going to be up to the job of holding my drill press, so I'll be making a sturdier bench out of 18mm ply or pine for the legs. But the mix of MDF and OSB, I think, you know, works. It's a shop project after all. It doesn't need to be perfect. So there we go. So look, I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please like it, give it a thumbs up on, and share amongst your friends. And yeah, please do subscribe to the channel. I could do with the support, and there's more to come from the Straw Bite Workshop. So for now, goodbye and take care.